Most investors ask themselves, did I beat the S&P 500? And that sounds reasonable. But that question can quietly damage your investing, because once that becomes your scoreboard, you can start making decisions based on comparisons instead of purpose. You start chasing what's hot. You start second guessing your plan. You start feeling behind, even when you might be doing exactly what you need to do. And that is why I want to challenge the way most investors measure success. Personally, I do not use the S&P 500 as the main benchmark for my portfolio. Instead, I use what I call a North Star. My North Star is to earn a 7% real annual return after inflation over rolling 5-year periods. That is the standard I care about, not because it sounds impressive, not because it wins arguments online, but because it's tied to what I actually want my portfolio to do. In this video, I'm going to explain the difference between external benchmarks and internal benchmarks, why so many investors get this wrong, and how creating your own North Star can help you invest with more clarity, more discipline, and more peace of mind. Before we start, a quick disclaimer. This video is for educational purposes only, not financial advice. Investing involves risk, and all examples are hypothetical and for illustration only. Always do your own research. Segment 1, the benchmark trap. Let's start with the trap. The investing world trains you to believe that the S&P 500 is the ultimate scorecard. If you beat it, you're doing well. If you lag it, you're doing badly or poorly. If your portfolio doesn't look like it, maybe there's something wrong. That sounds logical, but here's the problem. The S&P 500 is a market index. It is not a life plan. It doesn't know whether you're retired, approaching retirement, building a cash reserve, managing taxes, or trying to reduce volatility so you can sleep well at night. It's just an index. And yet, millions of investors let it become the emotional judge of their financial life. That creates problems, because if you use the wrong benchmark, you can make the wrong decisions for the right sounding reasons. And that is where a lot of investors drift into trouble. Not because they're lazy, not because they're stupid, but because they're measuring themselves against the wrong standard. And once that happens, comparison starts driving behavior. That's where this gets dangerous. Segment 2, what is an external benchmark? An external benchmark is a public standard you compare your portfolio against. Usually that means something like the S&P 500, a global stock index, a 60-40 portfolio, a bond index, or maybe a target date fund. These benchmarks are useful. I'm not against them. In fact, external benchmarks can do several important things. They can help you evaluate whether an active manager is earning their keep or their fees. They can help you understand the opportunity cost of your asset allocation. They can help you see whether your portfolio is behaving roughly the way it should. So external benchmarks are not the enemy, but they become a problem when investors turn them into a personal identity test. Because an external benchmark is only useful if it matches both the portfolio you built and the mission you're trying to accomplish. And that is the key issue. If your portfolio is not designed to behave like the S&P 500, then why are you emotionally grading yourself against it? That makes no sense. It's like entering a hiking expedition with a heavy backpack and then feeling bad because you didn't win a 100-meter sprint. Wrong race, wrong equipment, wrong conclusion. And this gets even more important once we talk about internal benchmarks, because that's where your investing becomes truly personal. Segment 3, what is an internal benchmark? An internal benchmark is different. It's a benchmark built around your own goal, your own mission, your own life, your definition of success. That is what I mean by the North Star. A North Star is the standard that keeps you oriented when the market gets noisy. For me, that North Star is simple. 7% real annual return, that means after inflation, measured over rolling 5-year periods. Now let's unpack that a little bit. Why real return? Because inflation matters. If your portfolio earns 8%, but inflation runs at 4%, your real gain is only about 4%. And when you're building wealth for the future, what matters is not just the number on the statement. What matters is your purchasing power. Can your money buy more over time? Can it support your lifestyle? Can it help fund retirement? Can it absorb rising costs for healthcare, travel, housing, and daily living? That is why I care about real return, not just nominal return. So the next point is why 5-year rolling periods? Because 1-year results are noisy. 1 year can be driven by sentiment, 1 year can be driven by valuation expansion, 1 year can be driven by a bear market. 1 year can tempt you to make changes to damage long-term compounding. But a rolling 5-year period gives you a much more meaningful test. It helps you evaluate whether your process is actually working over time. It helps you focus on whether you are preserving and growing purchasing power, not just winning a temporary performance contest. That to me is a far better scoreboard. Segment 4. Why the S&P 500 can lead investors astray. Now let's talk about why the S&P 500 can sometimes become a bad North Star. Not because the index is bad, it's a great index, but because it can push investors into bad behavior. First, your portfolio may not be built to match it. The S&P 500 is basically a 100% US large cap equity benchmark. That's what it is. So, if your portfolio includes bonds, cash, international stocks, dividend strategy, Berkshire Hathaway type holdings, real estate, or a more defensive structure, you're not trying to replicate the S&P 500. And that is perfectly fine. But if you keep grading yourself against it, you may end up thinking your own diversification was a mistake. Second, it encourages performance chasing. This is one of the biggest dangers in investing. When the S&P 500 is doing especially well, investors start feeling behind. Then what happens? They reduce diversification. They cut bonds. They add more of the hottest sector. They buy more tech after it already ran. They slowly reshape their portfolio to match whatever just worked. This is how investors drift away from their original plan. And that is how benchmarks turn into behavior traps. Third, it can make you abandon the strategy that actually fits your life. A lot of investors do not need the highest possible return every year. They need a portfolio they can stick with. They need tolerable volatility. They need protection against inflation. They need reasonable growth. They need a structure that works for retirement or near retirement. The S&P 500 does not care about any of that. So if you let it dominate your thinking, you may end up abandoning the right strategy simply because you are using the wrong yardstick. And that's the real danger. Segment 5. What a good North Star should do. So what should a good North Star actually do? I think it should do 3 things. Number 1, it should match the mission. Your benchmark should reflect what your portfolio is supposed to accomplish. If your goal is to build long-term purchasing power, your benchmark should reflect that. If your goal is retirement income durability, your benchmark should reflect that. If your goal is capital preservation with moderate real growth, your benchmark should reflect that. Your benchmark should serve the plan, not the other way around. Number 2, it should calm you down. This matters a lot. A bad benchmark makes you restless. A good benchmark makes you focused. It reminds you, this is my process. This is my objective. This is what success looks like to me. That kind of clarity can be incredibly helpful when markets are volatile and emotions are running high. Number 3, it should force long-term thinking. This is why I like a 5-year measurement, at least in my case, because real investing success is rarely visible in 1 quarter or even 1 year. Compounding needs time. Business results need time. A good strategy needs time. Judgment needs time. A proper North Star helps slow you down enough to avoid doing something foolish. And in investing, avoiding foolish decisions is a huge edge. Segment 6, my own approach. So how do I think about this personally? Just a quick break here. Remember, this is not financial advice. This is just an example. In this case, I'm using my personal experience as an example. Do your own homework. Okay, let's continue. I absolutely pay attention to external benchmarks. I know what the S&P 500 is doing. I look at the balanced portfolio returns. I watch different asset classes. I think all of that information is useful. But I do not define success whether I beat the S&P 500 in a random calendar year. Because that's not my mission. My mission is to compound purchasing power over time with a portfolio and process I can actually live with. That is why my North Star is 7% real annual return over rolling 5-year periods. Now, that is an ambitious standard, and it should be. A North Star should matter, but it also is grounded in what is important to me: real wealth creation, long-term discipline, a meaningful time frame, and a focus on mission instead of comparison. That framework changes how I interpret results. If I lag the S&P 500 for a year, that does not automatically mean something is wrong. If I beat the S&P 500 for a year, that does not automatically mean I'm doing everything right. The question I care about is different. Am I still on track toward my actual objective? That is the question I think more investors should ask themselves. Segment 7, how to build your own North Star. So how can you create your own North Star? Here's a simple framework. Step 1, define the mission. Ask yourself what your portfolio is actually supposed to do. Is it supposed to maximize growth, preserve capital, generate income, fund retirement, maintain purchasing power, leave a legacy? Step 2, build a benchmark tied to that mission. That benchmark could be a 5% real return, that means inflation plus 5%, or a 7% real return goal, meaning inflation plus 7% return, a blended benchmark that mirrors your real asset allocation, or a retirement benchmark tied to sustainable withdrawals. Step 3, use a meaningful time frame. A long-term portfolio should not be judged like a trading account. Use rolling 3, 5, or even 7-year periods depending on the nature of your strategy. Step 4, keep external benchmarks in the toolbox, not on the throne. This is the key point. External benchmarks are useful reference points, but your North Star is your compass. Those are not the same thing. And by the way, that is exactly the kind of conversation we have inside the Always Be Compounding Club. If you want a calmer, more thoughtful place to talk about portfolio design, investing behavior, retirement strategy, and how to build a plan you can actually stick with over time, come join us inside the community. Because investing is not just about picking assets. It's about building the mindset, the process, and the discipline to keep compounding for years and decades. That is what we focus on in the Always Be Compounding Club. If you want to check it out, go through the link in the description. You can join for free. So here's the big takeaway. Not every useful benchmark is the right benchmark for you. The S&P 500 is a valuable external benchmark, but it is not automatically your North Star. Because your real job as an investor is not to impress social media. It's not to win every calendar year. It's not to copy whatever strategy happens to be leading right now. Your real job is to build and maintain a portfolio that helps you reach your goals in the real world. For me, that means aiming for a 7% real annual return over rolling 5-year periods. That is my North Star. Yours may be different, but I believe every serious investor should have one. Because when you know what success actually means for you, it becomes much easier to ignore the noise, stay disciplined, and keep compounding. And remember, the key to building wealth is to always be compounding. See you in the next video. Take care.